Welcome to day 7 of the road trip. This is the most current day as of April 13th, 2025. And on this road trip between myself and Captain Rob, we found ourselves getting up this in the morning and we walk out to the hotel to load up the car and get ready to go. And Captain Rob has put a lot of his stuff in the car, and I got all my stuff together. And when I went to put something in the back seat, I noticed something rather interesting. So, as I mentioned in the previous video, how driving back from the investigation with Tammy in Oklahoma City, the windows were up. Here is the reason why I mentioned that. My car is a 4-door sedan, sports car edition, but it has no way to lower the windows unless the car is on and you do it from inside. There are no buttons to push to lower the windows. Well, the reason I bring this up is when I went to put something in the back seat, I realized my hand went through the window. And I thought to myself, where's the window? And then I noticed all 4 windows were down. And I'm looking around, there's no broken glass, so nobody's broken in. And so I'm feeling good about that. And I go to Captain Rob and say, did you lower the windows? And he says, no. And then I realized Captain Rob wouldn't turn on, I would hear the car turn on to lower the windows. And I never heard the car turn on. And so I was a little nervous why all the windows were down at first. And I turned the car on and I pushed the buttons to raise the windows and all 4 rose. And so there was nothing wrong with the windows. They didn't break or anything. So I was happy to see that. And I think, in my opinion, what happened is, as we had mentioned the previous night, that, I got the squirt from my dad, who's on the other side right now. And I feel like, and Tammy agreed that he was on the road trip with us so far. And I think he was just letting us know he was there with us, watching over us, because nothing was missing from the car. And it was a subtlety that you could not explain it away. You couldn't say, oh, well, I must have hit this button and the windows went down, because there is no button. So we get in the car and we get our day started and we go to meet our friend Kyle. And so we follow him to his brother's place and we drop off something there for him and then spend a little time chatting and having, some cool conversation about what's going on in the world right now. And we then go towards the barbecue chili competition in Muskogee. And so Kyle was nice enough to invite us along, and I have never been to one, and so it was rather interesting to watch how you go stand from stand to stand and people are offering you either barbecue or chili or both. Well, we were going along and there was some really good chilies. There were some really good barbecues there. And there was one that Kyle and I were laughing about a little bit on the inside, because this poor team, and I say team because I'm not sure who it was or who was representing who, But the chili that they served had no meat, and it was pure like broth with vegetables in it. And I looked at the guy kind of humorously and I said, "This looks like a soup." And he laughed and he goes, "Yeah, it kind of does." And I leaned over to Kyle and I said, "Kyle, I think this is soup." And he goes, "Yeah, it's like a stew, except it's missing the meat." And so we both were like, something must have happened because this doesn't, I think, fit our definition of chili. And so, unfortunately, in my opinion, that one missed the mark. But a lot of friendly people around there, and it was a lot of fun. And it took us about maybe an hour, hour and a half to walk from beginning, make the U-turn, and come back towards the beginning to the end, I guess you could say. And along the way, we saw this one deal that had a claw and a lot of the meat missing from it. So obviously, they had been cutting on it for a while and trying to figure out what it was. If it was, at first, we thought it could have been like a ham. And then I was like, no, a ham doesn't have a claw. And then we were like, well, maybe it's a chicken filleted open. Well, we get closer to it and we realize the head is biting the tail. It's a gator, a little 20-pound gator, and they were serving the meat off the back. Now, I've had alligator tail, and I will tell you, alligator tail does taste like chicken. The meat on the back of this bird, they had to smoke it, and I don't know why I said bird, it's on the back of the gator. But they smoked it because that was the only way to keep the meat as tender as possible in that area. And it actually tasted all right. It was a little tough being where it was located on the body, but I mean, it was actually, kind of tasty for gator, being the second time in my life that I've had alligator. And so I took a photo of the gator being cooked and the meat that's missing from it. So I'll be posting that in Facebook shortly, maybe. And it was quite an interesting experience seeing the spicy to the more mild, seeing brisket. And I gotta tell you, having a boy from Texas, if you're serving brisket, you better be serving that right, because we'll know. Because barbecue, that's a Texas style deal. We're known for barbecue. So I had to say thank you to Kyle for that opportunity. That was a lot of fun. And we drove back from the barbecue competition back to Dallas and taking the day, and we are getting ready to prepare our next round, which will be going through New Mexico to Arizona to see Tombstone and some other locations along the way. So keep tuned in, and I'll keep updating you guys with our journeys and our experiences along the way. Thank you all for watching, and if you don't mind, if you could please hit the rumble or the like button. It does help with the algorithms. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next leg of the journey. Bye bye, everyone.